here is how you can transfer a baby from bed to the crib or taking them out in the middle of the night without hurting your back or when you're dealing with back or sciatica pain. Now, a lot of times you'll see that the goal with a lot of transfers is to try to keep the torso upright, but I find that's actually really, really awkward, especially when you're trying to reach in to the crib or even try to reach into the bed. So this is a strategy that I find to be the most impactful and the safest on the back. And it's going to be broken down into two major components. Number one is going to be your hip motion. And then number two is going to be your center of gravity. And so the idea is that whenever we're picking something or someone up, we want to make sure that we're hinging at the hip, because when we hinge at the hip, it protects our back and allows our hips, our glutes, and our hamstrings to do the majority of the work. The second part is going to be center of gravity. Now, when we are having something out in front of us, it can put a lot of pressure on our back. So how can we actually focus on reaching and changing that lean without putting pressure on my back? And it's all about pushing those hips back, leaning the torso forward. My center of gravity still stays as close to me as possible, so then that way everything becomes a little bit more balanced. So here's an example. I'm going to use this blanket as the baby. And so you're going to be putting it onto your bed. You are going and getting your baby ready for nap time, bedtime, whatever. And from there, when you're going to pick something up, you're going to bend your knees and you're going to sit your hips back and you're going to come on down. You're going to have your chest and your face close to your baby so you can get some snuggles, but as you can see, I'm hinging over at the hip. And then from here, instead of having your elbows flare out, I find that if I keep my elbows in, I can actually use my hips and my torso to actually hold the baby with a little bit more stability. As you can tell, my elbows are in, because if my elbows are out, I'm working a little bit harder than I need to. So it's also important that when the baby comes up, hold it nice up against your body, so then that way you don't have to lean back a lot. Oftentimes if we lean back, we clench our butt and our back starts to get a little cranky. So if you keep your baby nice and close to you, you're going to feel a lot more secure. And then from here, you can go ahead and begin to shush the baby. Exactly. And then from here, when we are getting ourselves ready to get into the crib, you're going to bend your knees, you're going to push your butt back, and then you're going to keep your elbows in tight. You're going to set the baby down. And as you can see, my butt goes straight back. Right now, I'm going to let you focus on your strategy in regards to when to go feet first, whatever which way, but the focus is being able to drive those hips back. And this is going to be particularly helpful, especially as the crib starts to get a little bit lower and lower, where you're going to be focusing on trying to get as close to that surface as possible as you pick your baby on up. Now, once you put your baby down, I know that, especially at this phase in our daughter's life, she likes to have her butt a little bit padded as she's sleeping. So how can you pat the butt without putting too much pressure on your back, right? So what I like to do is I like to put one hand on the railing, bend the knees, and I push my hips back. They call this like the short stop position. And then that's when I can go ahead and pat the butt. And again, it's all about hip motion and center of gravity. So I'm going to be getting my daughter out of the bed. I'm going to get close, bend the knees, I'm going to get my hips back, elbows in, nice hold and squeeze. Again, keeping everything nice and stacked on top of your body. Try your hardest to minimize any of this, because you're going to be doing that throughout the day. And then when you're ready to transfer, again, keep everything nice and close, bend the knees, push the butt down, make sure you give your baby lots of kisses.